All right, today we're cracking open Emera's 2025 earnings report, and let me tell you, it's a story about a company firing on all cylinders. We're talking record performance, huge investments, and a really clear roadmap for what's next.
Okay, let's just jump right into the big one, 19%. That's the year-over-year growth in adjusted earnings per share. I mean, wow. A jump like that, well, it pretty much sets the tone for their entire year, doesn't it?
And it doesn't stop there. Get this. For the very first time, Emera's adjusted net income blew past the $1 billion mark. Crossing that billion-dollar threshold, that's a massive milestone for any company.
So numbers like these really set the stage for our first section, where we're going to unpack what made 2025 such a standout year for Emera. Because these results, they weren't just good, we're talking historic.
And hey, don't just take it from me. The president and CEO, Scott Balfour, he called 2025 a strong year. After seeing those numbers, calling it strong feels like the understatement of the century, right?
All right, so let's just recap the whole picture here. You've got record earnings per share? Check. You've got that billion-dollar income milestone? Check. Then there's a historic $3.6 billion in new investments, plus solid growth in their rate base and cash flow. See? This wasn't just one lucky break. This was success pretty much everywhere you look.
So you're probably asking, okay, how on earth did they do it? Well, the answer leads us straight to our next section, which is all about what I'm calling the Florida growth engine. Let's dive in and see what's really under the hood here. And this chart, wow, it tells you almost everything you need to know. A whopping 72% of Emera's adjusted net income comes from their work in Florida. So yeah, this isn't just a piece of the puzzle. For Emera, Florida is the engine. It's the powerhouse pulling the whole train.
Now, this Florida boom wasn't just a lucky accident. You've got to remember, Florida's population and economy are growing like crazy, so their subsidiary, Tampa Electric, was perfectly positioned to capitalize on that. We're talking new base rates, more and more customers signing up, and hey, even the weather was on their side. And here's where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just about corporate profits. These investments, especially in solar power, have a real-world impact. Since just 2017, Emera's solar projects have saved customers something like $380 million in fuel costs. That's a huge deal. It's a perfect example of a company's big strategy actually putting money back into people's pockets.
Okay, so having a record year is one thing. But what really matters is what a company does with that success. And that's exactly what our next section is about, investing in the future. We're going to look at how they're taking all that cash and pouring it back into building a stronger, more reliable grid for everyone.
And when I say pouring it back in, I mean it. That $3.6 billion figure we talked about, that's the biggest single-year capital investment in the company's entire history. They are seriously putting their money where their mouth is at a speed we've just never seen from them before.
And this is what that actual investment actually looks like in the real world. A huge chunk of that money is going right into making the grid stronger and more modern. This is the critical boots-on-the-ground work that keeps your lights on, which is more important than ever with all the crazy weather we've been seeing. But here's the tricky part, right? It's a classic balancing act. The company says they're managing all this record investment very carefully to make sure it doesn't hit customers too hard in the wallet. They've got to get their money back, but they can't just jack up the prices. It's a really, really fine line to walk.
So where is all of this headed? Well, for our last section, let's look out to the horizon and check out their 2030 growth plan. This is basically their game plan for the next several years.
Okay, now this is the kind of stuff that investors pay very close attention to. It's a super clear, data-heavy plan for how they expect to keep growing all the way to 2030. When you see targets like 5 to 7% annual EPS growth, that tells you they're really confident in their long-term strategy. So how are they going to do it? By spending money, and spending it smart. This is their capital plan until 2030. Look at this. The lion's share, over $15 billion, is going into grid reliability. Then another $3.2 billion for renewables, and about $600 million for new tech. You can't get much clearer than that about your priorities.
And at the end of the day, it all comes back to their core mission, right? This whole plan is built on one simple idea: making smart, disciplined investments in the stuff we all rely on to live our lives, every single day.
So that leaves us with one big final question. Emera has clearly shown they can deliver, and they've got this detailed roadmap for the future. But can they keep up this record-breaking pace of investment without making things unaffordable for their customers, especially with the economy being so uncertain? It's the ultimate challenge for any utility company, and it's something Emera is going to have to manage very, very carefully.